Come into this place of peace and let its silence heal your spirit. Come into this place of memory and let its history warm your soul. Come into this place of prophecy and power and let its vision change your heart. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Amherst. I'm Scott Harrigan, and with me is Hella Jacob, and together we are so glad you have chosen to be here, whether virtually or in person. Our minister, the Reverend Michelle Buhoy, is on sabbatical. She will return in September. For those in the chapel, I invite you to put your phones on reverence mode, silencing them so that you and all may be fully present and free from distraction. For those participating online, you are also invited to create an environment free from distraction.
Good morning. As we gather, we acknowledge that our church is built on land that was once nurtured and cherished by the First Nations people of this region, the Haudenosaunee, and before them, the people known as the Neutrals, and before them, peoples for time immemorial. May we also nurture and cherish this land in our turn.
It has been said that Unitarian Universalism is the religion that puts its faith in you, trusting each individual to engage in the spiritual journey and to reach our own conclusions about spiritual matters. We do that in beloved community as we support one another in faith and friendship. In that spirit, this congregation has created a covenant, a sacred promise of how we will strive to be with one another. Please join me in speaking our covenant. Together we promise to gather in compassionate community, to celebrate diversity of thought and unity of spirit, and to seek wholeness for ourselves, our children, and our world.
We light our chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, with these words from Christine Robinson. Thank you, Willa. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Before I do the Father's Day meditation, I would like to acknowledge that today is the very first celebration of Juneteenth, which is the celebration of the news that slaves were free reached the final destination, which was Galveston, Texas, was the farthest west. So I would like, and that happened on this day, June 19th, 1865, 71 days after the Civil War had ended, so it had been almost 2 months. The general order from that time by Major General Granger was, the people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes between employer and hired labor. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly in their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts, and they will not be supported in idleness, either there or elsewhere. By order of Major General Granger. So this is our very first celebration of Juneteenth. It represents when everyone found out that they were free. It has been celebrated in the African American community beginning as early as 1866 and continued in that community. And now it is a federal holiday, the only federal holiday since Martin Luther King Day. So please be sure to celebrate that. Okay, a Father's Day meditation by Rod Richards. On this Father's Day, we recognize the vast spectrum of experience and the often complicated feelings that surround such a celebration. We honor those fathers and father figures in our lives who have loved, supported, encouraged and instructed us, and we seek to share these gifts with others. We mourn those who have lost a father and fathers who have lost a child, whether by death or through estrangement. We support those for whom this day brings pain and sorrow, who have suffered abandonment, neglect, or abuse. We support and celebrate fathers in our midst who give of themselves to their children, recognizing all the strength and wisdom and stamina and love and time and honest introspection that fatherhood requires. We support those men who choose not to have children, yet who are present in loving and supporting ways to children, youth, and adults alike. And we seek to honor whenever we find ourselves today across this vast spectrum of experience, and to feel the compassion that embraces us within the silence.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Spirit draw near. Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. 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 Spirit draw near.
This is from E.E. Cummings. I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I, who have died, am alive again today, and this is the Son's birthday. This is the birthday of life and of love and wings, and of the gay, great, happening, illimitately earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing, any, lifted from the know of all nothing, human merely being doubt unimaginable you? Now the ears of my ears awake, and now the eyes of my eyes are open.
May the beauty before me open my eyes to see. May the beauty above and below me set my soul free. May the beauty inside me wake me up to feel the beauty between you and me is real. And may I be complete within my open circle. May I be willing to see some hope in a broken world. May I be like this tree, standing in the center of my circle. I am solid on the ground, and I know I'm not alone. May the beauty before me open my eyes to see. May the beauty above and below me set my soul free. May the beauty inside me wake me up to feel the beauty between you and me is real. And may I be complete within my open circle. May I be willing to see some hope in a broken world. May I be like this tree, standing in the center of my circle. I am solid on the ground, and I know I'm not alone. I'm not.
That was Hell Walker with The Beauty Before Me. You may be unfamiliar with the UU tradition of the flower communion. In that case, here is a short primer.
Nearly 100 years ago, the Unitarian minister Norbert Čopak offered his Czechoslovakian congregation a ritual to respond to their questions about how to be a community that welcomed rather than suppressed diversity. Czechoslovakia was a country formed in the aftermath of war, struggling just 5 years after the end of that war with questions of belonging and identity, trust and anxiety. Čopak's ritual took the traditional bread and wine communion that his community was too heretical for and too resistant to these usual symbols, and played with this ritual. He turned instead to the beauty of nature all around them and invited each of his congregants to find a flower and bring it to the church one Sunday. That each person would find the flower that was beautiful to them was a symbol of their affirmation that each of us has a piece of the truth, our unique sense of what beauty means. On their way into the church, his congregation was in turn invited, each of them, to place that flower in a vase, which symbolized their free choice to enter into community alongside all the other people that saw beauty in their own way, symbolized by their flowers placed there as well. A free church where people freely choose to walk together across their differences. Once everyone had gathered, they'd bring the vase forward. Then the minister, Chopak, he would bless it. And then he'd invite everyone to choose a flower to take home with them, but just not the one that they came with. Again, this free choice affirmed each person's choice to be blessed by another and to receive with an open heart their different understandings of beauty and to feel connected rather than divided by this difference. In this moment where so many forces seek to divide people, to play on our fears of differences and our anxieties of the other, here we remember that we freely choose to walk together and to be blessed by the differences between us and to see these differences as beauty.
First, we'll need the flower offerings of the congregation gathered here. We invite you now to come forward with your flowers. The flower that each of you offers up represents a unique choice of your own truth and meaning, and which you then meld together with the flower offerings of others to create a lovely bouquet, a beloved community. As you come forward, I ask that you approach the communion vase quietly, reverently, and with a sense of how important it is for each of us to address our world and one another with gentleness, justice, and love.
all these flowers. What beauty, what diversity, what a lovely symbol of the extravagance of life. How like the flowers we are, each unique and precious, born to bring something wonderful into the world. I want to tell you a special flower story by Randy Reynolds. It is called The Other Side of the Wall. There was a young woman who took great pride in the growth and care of the flowers in her flower garden. She had been raised by her grandmother, who taught her to love and care for flowers as she herself had done. So, like her grandmother, her flower garden was second to none. One day, while looking through a flower catalog she often ordered from, a picture of a plant immediately caught her eye. She had never seen blooms on a flower like that before. "I have to have it," she said to herself, and she immediately ordered it. When it arrived, she already had a nice shady place prepared to plant it. She planted it at the base of a stone wall at the back of her yard. It grew vigorously, with beautiful green leaves all over it, but there were no blooms. Day after day, she continued to cultivate it, water it, feed it, and she even talked to it, attempting to coax it to bloom. But it was to no avail. One morning, weeks later, as she stood before the vine, she contemplated how disappointed she was that her plant had not bloomed. She was giving considerable thought to cutting it down and planting something else in its place. It was at this point that her invalid neighbor, whose lot joined hers, called over to her. "Thank you so much. You can't imagine how much I have enjoyed the blooms of that vine you planted." The young woman walked through the gate into her neighbor's yard, and sure enough, she saw that on the other side of the wall, the vine was filled with blooms. They were indeed the most beautiful blooms she had ever seen. The vine had crept through the crevices and, although not flowering on her side of the fence, it had flowered luxuriantly on the other side where the sun shone brighter upon the wall. Just because you cannot see the good results of your labor does not mean that it bore no fruit. Whenever Dr. Čapek conducted his flower communion in Prague, he would say a blessing, much like this one, to consecrate the flowers, making them holy. Spirit of life, we ask for a blessing on these messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of the most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but instead realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do the work of this world. May it be so.
Today is a special day in our church year. The Unitarian Universalist Flower Communion Service, which we celebrate this day, was created in 1923 by Dr. Norbert Čapek, founder of the modern Unitarian movement in what is now the Czech Republic. For some time, Dr. Čapek had felt the need for some symbolic ritual that would bind his congregation more closely together, and he turned to the native beauty of the countryside for elements of a communion that would be genuine to the diverse people of his congregation. The flower ceremony was then brought to the United States in 1940 by Dr. Čapek's wife, Maja Čapek. The Czech-born Maja had met Norbert in New York City while he was studying for his PhD, and it was at her urging that Norbert left the Baptist ministry and turned to Unitarianism. The Čapeks returned to Czechoslovakia in 1921, just 5 years after the First World War and its formation, and established a dynamic local church, liberal church in Prague. And Maja Čapek was herself ordained in 1926. It was during a tour of the United States that Maja introduced the flower ceremony. Unfortunately, Maja was not unable to return to Prague due to the outbreak of World War II. And it was not until the war was over that the circumstances of Norbert Čapek's death were revealed. From this beginning, the service has spread to many of our Unitarian Universalist congregations and has been adapted along the way. The significance of the flower communion is that as no two flowers are alike, so no two people are alike, yet each has a contribution to make together with other different flowers to form a beautiful bouquet, to create beloved community. Our common bouquet would not be the same without the unique addition of each individual flower. And so it is with our church community. It would not be the same without each and every one of us, and thus this service is a statement of our beloved community. Beginning in 1923, the people of the Unitarian congregation in Prague, all the children and adults, participated in this colorful ritual, giving concrete expression to the humanity-affirming principles of our liberal faith. When the Nazis took control of Prague in 1940, they found Dr. Čapek's gospel of inherent worth and dignity of every person to be, as Nazi court records would put it, too dangerous to the right for him to be allowed to live. And Dr. Čapek was sent to Dachau, where he perished the next year. Yet his message of human hope and decency lives on through his flower communion in many, many UU congregations. It is a noble and meaningful ritual that we are about to celebrate.
This morning, as you came to church, you brought with you a flower from your yard, from along the road, from a florist, from the rose bush by the driveway. From many different sources, these many different flowers have come. Here, piled together, they symbolize the extravagance of nature, for as various as these flowers are, they do not begin to exhaust nature's inventiveness in creating forms and colors and beauty. And what nature has done for flowers, nature has done for us. We too are products of nature's extravagance. Each of us is unique. Mingled together, interacting, we do not become less unique, but rather find our uniqueness heightened. Here, in this place, here, in this human community, we find the fuller dimensions of our individuality, the richer meaning of our existence, the profound delight of this world and our existence in this world. Now, as we prepare to leave this place, I invite you, if you wish, to take one of these flowers. Take a different flower from the one you brought. Take it not to keep forever and forever. Nothing is forever. Take a flower as a symbol of gratitude for beauty we did not create, of gratitude for blessings we do not deserve, of gratitude for joys which come when unexpected. Take a flower as a symbol of your participation in the community of this congregation, of your participation in the community of humankind, of your participation in the community of all living things, of your participation in the universal community. If, by chance, you did not bring a flower, take one anyway. Take a flower as a symbol that beauty and grace and joy and love are not matters of reciprocity. In this world, we cannot earn or deserve that which is most important. It comes to us as a gift. Therefore, knowing how to receive is fully as important as knowing how to give. May it be so. Please come forward and choose a flower.
Now please join me for a responsive reading. Number 548 to mark the summer solstice. What I say will be a little tilde, and what you say will be just what you read on the screen. So, to begin. We stand at the edge of summer. The last burst of spring blossoms, lavender and white, and deep pink banks of rhododendron, are giving way to summer peonies and roses. Ooh, I'm sorry. There you go. All sorts of the turning seasons. It's a double click. There you go. Let me get the next one. It's a double click. Of earth, of life, of promise, gradually becoming fulfillment.
Here comes the sun, do 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 do. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, do 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 do. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, do 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 do. Here comes the sun, and I say, well, it's alright. Sun, 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 here we come. 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 Little darling, I feel the ice is slowly melting. And little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, do 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 do. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. It's alright.
Our closing words. Our service today has been a celebration of this gathered community, affirming the worth of each individual and the potential that is represented by our coming together. We have given and received as we have invoked the memory of Norbert Chapek, who was condemned because his faith was too dangerous to allow him to live. Imagine having a faith that was too dangerous, too compelling, too powerful in its message of love to be allowed to spread its light in a world of looming darkness. The world desperately needs our message of love. Just before his death in Dachau, Dr. Chapek wrote this prayer, reflecting on his own life and the state of his spirit. It is worthwhile to live and fight courageously for sacred ideals. O blow ye evil winds into my body's fire. My soul you'll never unravel, even though disappointed 1,000 times, or fallen in the fight, and everything would worthless seem. I have lived amongst eternity. Be grateful, my soul. My life was worth living.
Thank you for joining our gathering today. We hope you have been inspired and uplifted by sharing this time together. You can support the work and mission of this congregation with your financial contributions. For those in our chapel today, you'll find a basket at the back to receive your gift, or please text your gift to 833-987-1968. For those participating virtually, you may also text your gift to the number on your screen, or take a moment to visit our website, uuamherst.org and click on the giving link. We will now extinguish our chalice. Please join me as we extinguish our chalice with these words. Thank you, Heike. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Travel light and travel easy till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember I'm your friend. May the road rise up to greet you as you leave your past behind. I will think about you gently, and I'll hold you in my mind. Travel light and travel easy till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember I'm your friend.
And an old benediction from long ago. May your house be a place of happiness for all who enter it, a place where the old and young are renewed in each other's company, a place for growing, a place for music, a place for laughter. And when shadow and darkness fall within its rooms, may it still be a place of hope and strength for all who enter it, especially for those who may be entrusted to your care. May no person be alien to your affection. May your larger family be the family of all humankind. And may those who are nearest to you and dearest to you constantly be enriched by the beauty and the bounty of your love for one another. Go in peace.